a much needed relief, and this time a stimulus payment of $600 all the way to $2,400. And if you remember, few years ago, a stimulus check of $2,000 was approved and sent to millions of Americans.
Today, at the end of my remarks, I will ask the Senate's consent to take up the House-passed bill to provide the American people immediate survival checks of $2,000 a person.
That was a historic and much needed relief to millions of struggling Americans. But now when we see that federal administration failed to give any relief to Americans, now states are coming forward and saying enough is enough, as which governors are sending their own stimulus payments. Well, this is very important. If you are struggling right now, then you need to know that a number of states are finally sending stimulus style payments to millions of Americans. And we also have a very important update about American Worker Rebate Act, which could give you as high as $2,400 worth of payment. I'm gonna give you each and every detail, but all I need is just a little favor. It takes 2 seconds to please hit that like button on this video. So without any further ado, let's start the video. So let's start the video with the details and the status of the American Worker Rebate Act that could actually give from $600 all the way to $2,400 to struggling low and middle income Americans. Well, what about this proposed legislation? Well, Republican Senator Josh Hawley introduced the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025, which proposes providing at least $600 per adult and dependent child funded by tariff revenue. For example, a family of 4 could receive $2,400 worth of checks, and according to Donald J. Trump, US is receiving billions and billions of dollars because of these reciprocal tariff. And if you want to know what he exactly said about these tariff rebate stimulus checks and the revenue that US is receiving, then watch this.
Well, we have a lot of money coming in, rebate check for the Americans, and it's coming in at tremendous numbers. Don't forget, I would say, Scott, we probably are talking about right now 50%, maybe even less than that. With all the money you're hearing is coming in, you're talking about, you know, a lot of it hasn't kicked in yet. And when it really kicks in is in 2 years when these plants are built and opened and the money starts pouring in, right? But, I mean, there's a concept of making you could call it a dividend, as we would say, making a dividend to the people in this country who have had to suffer through stupid leadership.
So this was President Donald J. Trump, who himself announced the possibility of these new stimulus checks for Americans. And right after a few days, with the approval of President Donald J. Trump, Josh Hawley came up with this very important proposal. Well, according to this proposal, the checks could be larger if tariff revenue exceeds projections, and that's where a number of senators as well as a number of analysts and experts are saying that we need to increase the amount of these checks from $600 per adult and dependent child to $2,000 worth of stimulus check, as same as millions of struggling Americans received during the pandemic. And if you remember that was a historic moment, and in that moment Chuck Schumer stood on the floor and said this.
And the effort to send $2,000 survival checks to millions and millions of American families, something Senate Democrats strongly support. The Senate should be in session to address both issues. There are only a few days left in this session. We should not adjourn until the Senate holds a vote on both measures, the NDAA veto override and the House bill to provide $2,000 checks for the American people. As we all know, the majority leader controls the schedule on the floor. So Leader McConnell holds the key to unlocking this dilemma. The solution is a simple one. Put both bills up for a simple up or down vote, and then let the chips fall where they may. I believe both measures will pass, as they should. But Leader McConnell must allow the Senate to vote on both pieces of legislation, the defense bill and the $2,000 checks, before we go home. We will start the process on overriding the President's veto of the defense bill tomorrow. Today, at the end of my remarks, I will ask the Senate's consent to take up the House-passed bill to provide the American people immediate survival checks of $2,000 a person.
So that was the historic moment when Chuck Schumer stood on the floor and said that we will not go back home until this Senate passes the $2,000 worth of stimulus check bill for millions of struggling Americans. And now a number of lawmakers, analysts and experts are saying that this is the right time to send another stimulus check. And after Josh Hawley presented the American Worker Rebate Act, which is calling for $600 per adult and dependent child, these lawmakers, analysts and experts are saying that we need to change this amount to $2,000. And before I even move forward, I would like to ask you, do you support a $2,000 worth of stimulus checks, just as same as millions of Americans received during the pandemic? If you support this $2,000 worth of stimulus check, then write in the comment section, I support $2,000 stimulus. Again, if you support it, then write in the comment section, I support $2,000 stimulus, because remember, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. And do you know, after federal administration failed to give any relief to millions of these struggling Americans, now a number of states and its governors are coming in front and saying enough is enough. We will give the relief to our residents, as governors are sending their own stimulus payments. This is important because not just 1, 2, 3, but multiple states are sending stimulus style payments to its residents. And remember, in this very important part, I'm going to tell you that how much you can expect, where these checks are coming, as well as when you can expect these checks. Well, starting with New York's inflation refund checks, well, you can receive, or New Yorkers can receive, somewhere between $150 and $400. And this is important because these checks are pending to be received this month, means at the end of this month. Then California energy and utility rebates, well, this is quite small as compared to other refund checks or stimulus style payments. And right here you can receive somewhere between $39 to $59 applied directly to their or your utility bills if you live in California. New Mexico is coming up with a very important tax rebate program or stimulus style program, a staggering $500 to $1,000 tax rebate that are scheduled to be sent the beginning of next year. Then Pennsylvania property tax and rent rebates, this is also very important, as Pennsylvania expanded property tax rent rebate can actually give $1,000, and this is important to eligible older people and those with disabilities. So if you are a senior or disability benefit recipient, then this is indeed a very important program for you. As I mentioned earlier, that you can receive $1,000 up to $1,000, but you need to make at least $45,000 and less. Then Arizona is dependent refund for families. This is also a very important program, and right here every parent will receive $250 per child who's under the age of 17 and $100 per dependent who's over the age of 17. And now, how to check you're eligible? Well, each state has different rules, so it's important to verify the details, and most states require a recently filed state tax return, while some programs like those in New York and Arizona send payment automatically. Well, you need to actually go to your state's website or contact your local officials for any program that you can apply for, because remember, a number of states are in surplus budget and they are providing these reliefs to millions of Americans. Well, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video very soon. Till then, please take care and have a nice day.